Okay, so our topic today is working with negative numbers. Now, in order to talk about this, it's helpful for us to have a few terms that we understand that we're talking about in the same way. The first one, of course, is negative. And a negative number is any number that is smaller than 0. Now, historically, there were questions about whether there even was such a thing as negative numbers, but we use them all the time now. For example, we might think about negative temperatures, temperatures that are less than 0. Or if we talk about bank accounts and money, if we talk about a negative number, we're talking about money that's owed instead of money that we have. Those are just some of the many, many examples of how we use negative numbers. Now, integers are the whole numbers, the counting type numbers, but they can be both positive or negative. So 5 would be a positive number, negative 5 would be a negative number, something that is less than 0. Those are both integers, as is 0. So negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are integers. And the integers go on to infinity in both directions. So from 4, 5, 6 right on up to the biggest number you can think of, and going in the other direction, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, and to the biggest negative number that you can think of going the other direction. They go for infinity in both directions. Now, when we talk about negative numbers, we typically write them like this, for example, and we read that as negative 4. Now, sometimes people will refer to that as minus 4, and that's okay, but it's not as specific as negative 4. If we say minus 4, it sounds like we're talking about taking away 4 from something else or subtracting 4. So the proper way to read this is negative 4. Now this number is also an integer, and it is sometimes written in this way, not plus 4 but positive 4, and that refers to any number bigger than 0. So this number and this number are the same. We usually just don't put the plus sign or the positive sign in front of it. Now, when we talk about integers, integers have two parts to them. They have what is called magnitude, and they have what is called direction. So when we talk about magnitude, we're talking about the size of a number. So, for example, 4 is a bigger number than 2. 1,000 is a bigger number than 500. We could also think about negative 1,000 as in some sense being bigger than negative 500. That's not really a very good way to put it, though. The best way to think about it is, in terms of magnitude, is how far those numbers are away from 0. Okay? So 4 and negative 4 have the same magnitude. They're the same distance away from 0. Okay? And direction refers to which direction they are from 0. In other words, are they on the positive side or are they on the negative side? So again, 4 and negative 4, they have the same magnitude, but they have different direction. One is a positive number, one is a negative number. And when we think about, when we think about those two numbers, negative 4 and 4, they are opposites. They have the same magnitude, they're the same distance away from 0, but they have the opposite signs. One is positive, positive 4, or just 4, and negative 4, or that's the negative number. You might say minus 4, but we'll stick with negative 4. Okay? And we can show these numbers in a couple of different ways. For example, the most common ways are a number line, and with a number line, we think about the positive numbers to the right, so 1, 2, 3, and we think about the negative numbers to the left, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. The other way that we very commonly display our numbers would be in a thermometer, okay, which you've all seen. So let's say we have a little thermometer here, and I'm not a very good artist, but we'll just draw our thermometer looking like that. I'm going to make my number line just a little bit bigger because we're going to use it for something in a minute. We're going to put negative 4 over here and negative 5. And we're going to make it a little bigger over here and add a 4 over here. But our thermometer can be the same way. Now the difference is with the thermometer, let's say that 0 degrees is right there. How do we do the positive and the negative numbers? The positive numbers are above 0. So maybe we have 5 degrees here and 10 degrees and so on. And we put the negative numbers, -5 degrees down here. Now in Australia we don't see a lot of negative numbers, but that's what it looks like on a thermometer. They are below 0. Okay? Now, we can do a lot of different things with number lines or with thermometers. So let's say, for example, that I ask you to show me the integers from -4 to 2. Well, I have this number line here, and I can identify all of those numbers. Here's -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So that way I have graphed or plotted or shown all the numbers from -4 to 2. Okay? The other thing that we can do when we talk about negative numbers and working with negative numbers is we can talk about, excuse me, one of the other things anyway, is we can talk about size comparisons. So perhaps we want to use less than and greater than to talk about these two numbers. Which one is larger than the other one? Well, 3 is bigger than -2, so we say -2 is less than 3. What if we had this, -1, -6? Now, you know that this has a greater magnitude, meaning it's further from 0, but they're both negative numbers. So which one is larger than the other one? Well, -1 is greater than -6. And if you think about it on a number line, that may help you to understand. Where would -6 be? -6 would be over here. -1 would be here. So this number is greater than that number. -1 is greater than -6. And that is working with negative numbers.